Okay. So how was that small group? How was your small group of 60? How was that experience for everybody?
Excellent.
Excellent. Good. Great. So we're going to each reflect a little bit on the things that we did, and for me, I'm going to turn to the folks who were with me to lift up something that they heard that was meaningful to them. What I did in my time was ask the group if they would like to, I had some things prepared to say about using technology for collegiality especially, and for collaboration, so that we counteract the isolation that sometimes religious educators feel in their work. And I offered them the opportunity to just ask questions or just have a more spacious and open time if they had other things they wanted to talk about. But we did end up talking about ways of using technology. So would anybody who was there, Scott's got a microphone, want to share a reflection of that time that we had, so that if other folks want to talk to you, they can? So apparently we really didn't do anything.
With thanks to a very generous grant from the Canadian Unitarian Council and LREDA about 3 years ago, 7 Canadian religious educators did a cooperative inquiry project in which we set some goals for a learning and spiritual development project that we'd like to undertake together. Faye is here in the room with me. Faye, you want to put your hand up? Anyone else who was in this project so that people can chat with us? So it was an opportunity for us to create sacred space online with some worshipful time, some deep check-in time, and opportunities to read, a common read, to take on experiential learning, and then post the learnings that we had through video, drawings, photographs, blog posts, and then at about 1 month or 6 week intervals, we would check back in to read what each of the 7 of us had posted. And I have to tell you, it was a deeply, deeply meaningful experience. Faye's nodding. We used a name site. She and I probably both might cry if we keep looking at each other at this point, because I can still see in my mind some of the beautiful images, the artwork that some of our colleagues created in response to the subjects that we were discussing about the struggle and the joy of doing our work. And it was truly transformational for me in how I see myself, how I do my work, how I understand our work, having had this year of deep insights into the struggles of others who do the work and the joyfulness that others have, and to be able to see that each of us brings our own natural giftedness to the work. Each of us is unlocking our struggles and our difficulties while we're serving our people. And the body of work that this created at the end of the year made us not want to let go of our name site, so we continued to pay the subscription fee so that we could keep revisiting these artifacts of the experience that we had shared for this year.
Amen. So what I really want to lift up from that is that it is possible to create sacred space in virtual space. And what I said this in the group, but what I'll say to everyone is that the opposite of virtual is not real. The opposite of virtual is physical. And things that happen in virtual space are every bit as real and can be every bit as relational and intentional as things that happen face to face. We had in New England, we did a workshop on building staff team covenants, and we offered it online instead of only in person. And we didn't know how that would work because covenant writing is such an intimate process, and we didn't know how that would work on the screen. But the feedback that we've gotten so far was that it was deeply relevant and meaningful for the people who participated. And people were able to be there, like the administrator and the sexton were able to be there in the church building for an hour and a half on 2 different days, rather than taking a half a day on a Saturday to go work with the staff team together. So they felt included in part of the mission of the church in ways that they hadn't been before. So it's possible to have sacred space in virtual space. Sheila, do you guys want to go next?
Sure.
The workshop that I led my team of people over here in was from Superhero City, which is one of our workshop rooms, which focuses on the words and deeds of prophetic men and women. And the workshop that we did was on learning skills of listening to needs, and being able to communicate and be curious about other people's needs and feelings, especially when you're in a conflict. I just wanted to post the basic workshop template that I use, so that other people if they use a similar template, or if they want to have ideas about it. There's opening fun about the theme. Ours was a game of telephone. There's an introduction to what we're going to be doing today, related to the theme. There's a listening circle, which is basically joys and sorrows. We use a ritual for that, of stones and water. Reflection on the theme from the worship story. So in my small groups after worship, there's always a section in the workshop that helps kids to reflect back on the experience we had together earlier, which would have been the story of Ishu or something that happened in that worship. And then there's a learning activity, which can be very, very experiential. It can be very focused on like a skills-based thing. And then a closing, like how is this going to help you live differently in your life this week? A couple of other thoughts that I had regarding workshop. For me, we have workshop adventure. The worship small group pattern, as Scott was saying, when it's used in a large church, it has pretty transformative power. But in RE, for me, that worship small group pattern can be used in any program which allows that thematic content to enrich the group experience. So for us right now, we have our youth leaders who use the themes to think about which pillar they're going to slot.
It's up there.
Oh, thanks. So for example, in Ancestry, the youth are going to do roots for gender identity, intergenerationally. So for them, it's like the ancestry, like how have we in terms of time, what has been the experience of people who have the same gender identity as I do? Adapting the template for each workshop room is a way to ensure that the theme is explored through very specific lenses. So this is like really super nitty-gritty. I hope it's helpful for you, but for me, so when I'm using the basic template that I have, there are certain rooms that I actually tweak it for. One of those rooms, for example, is my Thinking Cap Lab, which is the humanistic room. I always make sure there's something from the Humanist Manifesto actually in that room, in that workshop. It helps define, at least in my mind, that I'm including that source for the kids. Another example would be, in this workshop, we include a social justice related video clip in every one of the Superhero City workshops, because I don't want the kids to have an isolated view of what the world is like in this little tiny room, right? If you're going to teach them about social justice, our tech stuff is a huge bonus to get them to think outside the box of the church. And so there's always a video in there, in that room, related to social justice. And here's a little shadow, which may not be spoken of, which I will share with you. Creating subgroups of areas of focus ensures that the thematic structure doesn't dominate other essential curricular components you want to have. So this to me is like, could be a super blind spot. So say I'm going along with my team, and I think this theme is great, but I personally have a responsibility. I want to make sure my children and youth are getting education in racial justice, that they're learning about family differences. You know, there may be other priorities, consumerism, all that stuff. I want to make sure that my program is structured so that I can include some of those subgroups of areas of focus in a very, I'm an institutionalist, so in a very institutional way. So like, for example, I was explaining that in my Superhero City room, we do social justice projects. I have defined what those priorities are for myself. So in the fall, we do something related to hunger and homelessness. In the late fall, consumerism and materialism related to the holidays usually. in the winter session, it's always on some kind of oppression interpersonally, whether it's ageism, racism, all of those are in that slot in January, and then there's another one in the late spring, and then in environmentalism. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? So what I don't allow to happen is that the theme takes over my priorities as a religious educator, right? Thumbs up if you understand what I'm saying. It could, right? It could very well. It could get swept up into this, but I feel like I owe the parents kind of and the families a sense that I've thought through and making sure certain things are covered. And those things have to stay the same regardless of how the theme is going. The last one is tailoring your group structure to express your mission related to themes is essential to consider for impact. So tailoring your group structures to express mission related to themes. So the example I give is probably not exactly that. For me, we also have a duty to make sure that the way we're using the themes is still in line with our RE mission, and that mission is in line with the church mission. If you have one that's portable. For me, it's listen, open, serve, so it's pretty easy. But to make sure that you're checking on the way you're using the themes is in line with your own mission. But also in terms of this, my mission as a religious educator and my program says that I will teach the kids to use sources, that I will give them wisdom that's not necessarily in the wider culture. And so for me, the way I did that was I changed my workshop rooms from art, music, dance, and nature to be the 6 sources. So the Guru Gym, Thinking Cap Lab. I made that change myself because I felt like I wasn't giving enough definition in my program to UUism. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay, so those are some tips, at least what I've learned so far in terms of workshop adventure and things to pay attention to that probably not anybody in your congregation is going to point out to you. Right? I mean, it's part of doing the work that's organic, so I hope that's helpful.
Very little to say other than we had a lot of fun downstairs, didn't we?
Yeah.
Middle tables. We had a good time, and there was a question about how we could do that with a group that wasn't all in the same room, and I actually have an idea about that. So whoever asked that question, talk to me after this. I think that problem is solved. So we had 4 different workshops, and obviously you want to be able to have an experience of all of them, and the beauty here is that you can. So on Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, we have these open slots. I believe where do they sign up? Right there at the bottom, ua.org/RE teachers, etc. Please sign up if you're interested. If you missed what we did downstairs, go to this. And are we going to studio? Okay, so we're going to studio for a little bit so y'all can cross-pollinate a bit, talk about what you experienced, what you learned, share it with your colleagues. Honestly, LREDA is what fed me every year. I would come to this event and I would walk home with so many tools in my toolkit, so many new tools, and I hope you're collecting those, and now's an opportunity to do so.